So right here we have an 8 by 3 matrix, and here's a list of our 8 points, and then the mean of our first point, second point, third point, and cluster. So we're gonna pick for our 3 different clusters. It's gonna be A1, B1, and C1. So A1's gonna be 2, 10, and then B1's gonna be 5, 8, and then C1's gonna be 1, 2. And so basically with these, we're going to do the absolute value of x2 minus x1 and then y2 minus y1 on each one. So 2 minus 2 is 0, 10 minus 10 is 0 as well, so our mean is 1. 2 minus 5 is 3, negative 3, but the absolute value of that is 3. Then 10 minus 2 is, 10 minus 8 is 2, so that is 5. And then 2 minus 1 is 1, and then 10 minus 2 is 8, so that makes that 9. And then, so you continue to do so throughout all of this. So 2 minus 2 is 0. So this is 5, 3, and 3. So it's 6, 1, and then 3. So it's 4. And then 8 minus 2 is 6, and 6 is 12. 8 minus 5 is 3. 4 minus 8 is 4. So that's 7. And then 8 minus 1 is 7, and 4 minus 2 is 9. And then next is 5 minus 2 is 3, and then you do plus whatever that is, which is negative 2, but absolute value, so it's 5. And then this is also 0. And then you have 4 and then 6, which is 10. And then 5 plus 5 is 10, and then 7 minus 5 is 2, 5 minus 8 is 3, so that's 5, 2 plus 3 is 5, and then 6, and then 3 is 9. And then 6 and 6, 4, you do 6 minus 2 is 4, 4 minus 10 is negative 6, but absolute value, so it's 10. 6 minus 5 is 1, 4 minus 8 is 5, and then 6 minus 1 is 5, and then 4 minus 2 is 2, so that's 7. And then 1 minus 2 is 1, and 2 minus 8 is 9, or 2 minus 10 is 8, so that's going to give you 9, the absolute value 9. And then 1 minus 5 is 4, and then you have 6, so it's 10. And then 1, and then this is 1 minus 2 is 1, and 2 minus 2 is 0. And then 4 minus 2 is 2. 9 minus 10 is 1, so that's 3. And then this is negative 1, and then 1, which is 2. And then 3 and 9 is 10. So you look at all these numbers, and you're going to, and this cluster means find the minimal distance in a cluster. So there are 3 different ones. So you're going to go through and see which one is going to fit into which one, which point's going to fit into which cluster. So our A1, our first point, the smallest one is 0, so it's 1. The smallest one in this one is 3. And then the smallest one in the third point is 2. And then the smallest one in the fourth point is 2. The smallest point in B2 is 2. And then the smallest point in B3 is also 2. And the smallest point in C, or in C1, point C1 is 3. And the smallest one is C2 is 2 as well. So your cluster is 2, 10. And then 2, 5. And then 1, 2. And then 8, 4 is 1. 5, 8 is 1. And then 7, 5 is 1. And then 6, 4 is 1. And then 4, 9 is also 1. So we have a total of 1 point here, 5 point here, and 5 points here, and then 2 points here. So basically right here, you're going to add all your x values and your y values together. Since there's only 1 point here, our center right here, our center for table 2, or the second cluster is going to be 2, 10. For x here, it's going to be it's going to be 8 plus 5 plus 7 plus 6 plus 4, and you're going to divide that by 5, and that's going to give you that. So 8 plus 5 is 13, plus 7 is 20, then 26, then 24. 24 divided by 5. 24 divided by 5 is going to be about 5 times 4 is 20. So about 4.85. And then next is going to be our y values. This is going to be 4 plus 8 plus 5 plus 4 plus 9. And that's going to be 12, 17, 21, and then 30. 30 divided by 5 is going to be 6. So our numbers are going to be around 4.85, then 6 for that one. So our cluster right here is just going to be shorter. So it's going to be 2 plus 1 divided by 2, which is 1.5, and then 5 plus 2 divided by 2, which is 3.5. And then you do that, and that's going to be right there. So you move over here to our first table. I drew it out up top. So again, we're going off of this one. And we're going off of B1 as well, and we're going off of C1, okay? These are our main points that we're clustering all together. So you see here, I've already graphed our first one. And then here's our first cluster, which only has 1. And then our second cluster, or no, this is our second cluster, which has 5 points. And as you can tell, this is one of them. And then 4.85 did the 6 to 6 right here. Is also that, so that makes this one a cluster. And then our next one is 1.5 to 3.5 right here. So this makes this a cluster. So that's for our table 1. So now we're gonna take these bad boys and put them up here for table 2. So again, same rules apply, except up here we're gonna have 2, 10, and then 6, and then 1.5 to 3.5. And since I have a calculator, I'm gonna double check that 24 divided by 5. It is 4.85. All right, wow. So as we go on, or well, more around 4.8. So as we go on, we're gonna do the same thing for table 2 as we did for table 1. So you're here and you have 0 again, then 2 minus 4.8 is 2.8, and then 6 minus 6, 2 minus 4.8 is 2.8, and then 10 minus 6 is 4, so that gives that 6.8, and then 2 is 0.5, then 6.5, so that gives that 7. 2 minus 2 is 0, and then 5 minus 10 is negative 5, but it's 5. And then we have 2 minus 4.8, which is 2.8, and then that's 1, so that's 3.8. And then 2 minus 0.5, and then 1.5, which makes that 2. All right, so you have 6, and then 6 again, so you have 12, and then 8 minus 4.8 is... is 3.2, and then 4 minus 2, so that's 5.2. So 8 minus 1.5 is 6.5, and then that's going to be 7 as well. So 5 minus 2 is 3, and 8 minus 2, so that's 5, and then 5 is 0.2, so 2.2. 3.5, 8 minus is 3.5, and then 8 minus 3.5 is 4.5, so that makes that 8. And then 7 is 5, and 5 is 10. Makes that 2.2, so this makes this 3.2. And then 7 is 5.5, and 1.5, which is 7. And then you have 4, then 6. So again, you have 10, and then 6 is 1.2, so again, it's 3.2, and then you'll have 3.5 and 0.5, which is 4. And then 1 minus 2 is 1. 8 is 9. 1 minus this is 3.8, and then 4, so 7.8. Wait. 1 minus is 3.8, yeah. And then 1 minus 1.5 is 0.5, and then you have 1.5, so that's 2.5, and then 4 minus 2 is 10, 10 minus 1 is 3. 0.8, and then 9 minus 6 is 3.8, and then 1.5 is 2.5, and then 4.5, which is 7. So again, you do the same thing as the clusters. Which one's the smallest? You have 1 here. Here you have 3. Here you have 2. Here you have 2. Here you have 2 again. Here you have 2 again. And then you have 3, and then we'll have 1 again. So on our second one, we are going to have 2 in our first one, which is gonna be, I'll switch spins again, which is gonna be 2, 10, then 4, 9. And then for cluster 2, you're gonna have only 4 this time, so just 8.4, 5, 8, and then 7, 5, and then 6, 4. Cluster 3, you're gonna have 2, 2, 5, and 1, 2. So you do the math all over again as you did for the first one, and you're gonna get 2 plus 4 divided by 2 is 6, and then divided by 2 is 3. 10 plus 9 is 19 divided by 2, and that's gonna give you 9.5. So this is our coordinate. Then same thing here, 8 plus 5 plus 7 plus 6. Divide that by 4, and it's equal to 13 plus 7 is 20, 24. So, hang on. 8 plus 5 is 13, plus 7 is 20. Then you have 26. So 26 divided by 4 is going to be, hang on, 6.5. And then, so that's for our first one. Our second one's going to be 8 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4. So that's going to be 12, 17, 21. 21 divided by 4 is going to be 5.25. So here is 2 plus 1 divided by 2, which is 1.5. And again, we have 5 plus 2, which is 7 divided by 2, which is again 3.5. So we have 1.5 to 3.5. All right. So then we go back to our table, and we have several different graphs. Well, it's 3 different points for that matter. So we'll use this one up here for our T2. Okay. Even though it was our original. So we'll have 3. Our cluster 1 is 3, then 9.5. So this is right here. And then we'll have 6.5 to 5.25, which is right here. And then 1.5 to 3.5, which is right here. So instead of our original points, which I circled, our cluster is now still going to look like this. It's going to have these 2 in here, as always, for our first one. Our second one's just going to have A3 through B2, which is all right here. And then the third one, you actually have A1 and then C2, which is going to be right here for that one. So as you can tell from T1 to T2, we have added C2 into the third cluster. So now we're moving on to T3, which is our third table. And we're going to do this process all over again, except we're going to use these as a point instead of the other.